Hello and welcome to the Sober Bartender podcast, the show where we recover from life. I'm your host, Brandi Kelly. So this week's episode is called There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays. And I can hear that song playing in my head. I won't sing it to you. I am congested. I am hopefully on the tail end of a cold. We had a 6-day rain fest here in South Texas. And while that's not totally uncommon in the Pacific Northwest, down here on the South Texas coast, it was a doozy. And I did catch a little cold, and it's kind of the perfect time because I did not want to leave the house. I just wanted to stay inside and stay bundled up. So we're in November. Next week is Thanksgiving. Christmas is a month away. The holiday season is upon us. So that is wonderful. That makes a lot of people feel really, really excited. That brings a lot of people a lot of joy. I just love the idea of the holidays. My mom made every holiday feel extra special. And so I have like a very nostalgic, like loving feeling when I think of the holidays. Not necessarily Thanksgiving. I don't have a lot of Thanksgiving memories, except maybe in my teen years. Excuse me. But definitely like Christmas, I don't have, it doesn't bring me feelings of like stress and overwhelm, but I know it does some people. So we're going to get into that. But let's just talk about the holidays in general. Typically it is a time to be with your family, and I know a lot of people live in the same town as their family. I know I don't know if it's more or less, but I personally have lived away from home since I was 17, other than a few months in my early 30s I spent living with my mom. But I've been on my own since I was able to. And I know that the holidays, they bring people together. But the thing that people don't realize is that when they come together, a lot of times there's also a lot of stress and pressure and inappropriate questions and boundaries being violated, and it can be really stressful, both for like the for the parents that are putting on the holiday, the pressure to provide, and the pressure to get everyone together and create a space where everyone wants to be. And then also for the child or for the children coming in, and when we're out on our own and when we're living our life, we develop this idea of who we are and what our life is like. And when we go home and when we're confronted with who we are in our family's eyes, that can bring up a whole lot of mess. Ram Dass, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, one of his favorite quotes is, "If you think you're enlightened, try spending a week with your family." It's like you could be out just meditating on a mountain in the Himalayas and just be living this spiritual life. But the minute that you're back at that kitchen table and you're being perceived through the eyes of your family, it evokes those same feelings from childhood. Anything that we're trying to heal or trying to address or trying to escape on our spiritual journeys, being confronted with our family can bring a lot of those things to the surface. Even if you have a great relationship with your family, I have a great relationship with my family. My mom and I, although in my teens, I was really, really ornery and it was tumultuous, we're very, very close. But that doesn't mean that when I sit with my mom that she doesn't bring up things or she's not capable of bringing up things that can make me uncomfortable, or that can, her seeing me through a light that I no longer see myself in. And it's a really, I don't want to say it's a test, but it's, it might, like, it's that whole concept of like how we experience what's happening outside of us is a reflection of our inner condition. And so that is, that is a true test of like, where are you actually at? Like, how accepting are you of other people's views or opinions of you? Or, are you capable of receiving intrusive questions, or judgmental questions, or biased questions? Are you capable of, people bringing up your personal things in a group setting and accepting that the person asking that question isn't actually attacking you? Or maybe they are, but regardless, wherever they're coming from is just a result of where they're at. And your responsibility is only how you respond. This is a super gnarly challenge, though. Like, how you respond is the challenge, because you don't want to, recreate previous holidays where it just turns into a big resentment, or, a blowout, or a silent resentment, to where just you don't vocalize how you're feeling, and then that's something that you're carrying with you. So I do recommend having responses lined up for when your boundaries are tested, or when your comfort zone is pressed. Just, I want to remind everyone just to breathe and to try to look at their family through the eyes of love. Try to look at these people that you love as people that are just doing their best, that that absolutely love you, and sometimes don't know how to show up in the way that you need them to. And the best that we can do is just love people where they're at. And if people aren't capable of respecting us, then, we have boundaries that we can draw and decisions that we can make to protect ourselves. But just in your day-to-day scenario, let's say not an extreme case where we need to, like, not have contact with someone, but let's just say, it's just going to be a challenge. I want you to give yourself some extra love going into this holiday season. I want you to just know that it's not just you, and that it's totally not uncommon. And it can be however you want to word it, just frustrating or triggering, or it can just bring up a lot of feelings being with family, despite the fact that you are excited to see them, despite the fact that you love them and can't wait to celebrate with them. It's also a time that can be really, really challenging. So I don't think the holidays are a time to hash things out, or to bring up issues, or solve old things. I think it's just one of those things to where if you make the decision that you are going to spend the holidays with your family, you do your best to show up as the best version of you. Now, that being said, there's also a lot of people that are triggered by the holidays because they don't have communication with their family. They don't have contact with their family. If this is you, if I am describing you, I urge you to accept those invitations for the Friendsgiving dinners, accept those invitations, for lunch. If you're not receiving them, extend them, definitely create the community that you're craving. If you don't have that family, built in, if you're thousands of miles away, like we are, there are options. Like our first year here last year, we made do. We didn't know a lot of people, but we said yes. And it was kind of awkward and it was kind of uncomfortable, but it did, it was the start of friendships that now a year later we treasure. So, if you don't have your family near you, or if you don't talk to your family, the holidays can be like a really lonely time. And so I just strongly encourage you to lean on the friends that you have. If you don't have friends in whatever situation you're in, just extend the invitation. Yeah. Because the holidays are rough. And obviously, if you are, struggling with drugs or alcohol, this is absolutely a difficult time. I know there are a lot of places that run alcothons where there is a meeting 24 hours a day during the holidays, so that you always have somewhere to go. Even if you don't feel like you're going to drink, kind of nice just to have somewhere to be. And I've been involved in those in the past, and it was me showing up for other people, but it absolutely was what I needed. I thought I was there for them, but I was there for me too, because I didn't have anywhere else to be. But yes, just, this is a time of grace. Like, Thanksgiving is our time to give thanks. So I am really big on gratitude lists. So I think it's a great idea before you go to a family dinner, or before you go to meet up with a whole bunch of family, where it's going to be great to see them, but also some things might get brought up that could be a little bit touchy. Write a gratitude list about your family. Write the things that you are grateful. And so you're going into that situation not worried about what might be said or what could go wrong. Instead, have yourself set up with a positive outlook, because what you focus on is what you're going to create. And so if you are focused on the negativity and what Aunt Martha is going to say, I guarantee you that is exactly what you're going to experience. But if you take what Aunt Martha has to say with a grain of salt, and you're just so focused on how thankful you are that she's the family matriarch, or that she shows up and she brings love or stories or jokes or whatever. But if you can just focus on the positive, then you're going to experience the positive. But that's where our work is. And over the next few months, our work is really going to shift into our work. So it's no longer going to just this podcast is no longer going to be about just recovery, but more so our work. Like, where does our work lie? What can we do? Like, where is our agency in our life? How can we change our perception? What glasses do we need to put on to see the world that we want and that we need and that we want to live in? And I'm excited. I'm excited for the journey. So stay tuned for some big changes coming. And I just I want you to give yourself some opportunity just to set your highest good in action. Like, this is a great time to just, we're coming up on the end of the year. A lot of people like to set goals or set intentions for the new year. But now, in a month before the end of the year, now is a great time to get the ball rolling, especially leading into the time that we're about to spend with our families, and just look at what your highest good in action is. And so I do have some journaling prompts for you. I encourage you to just take some time to sit down and ask yourself these questions. And just, it's a good opportunity to just give yourself some love, because then your baseline is a little bit higher when you're coming into these situations that have the potential to take you off of your level. So the first question is, what's most important to you in your life right now? So I want you to just take time, like, sit and think about that. Like, what is most important to me in my life right now? Is it shifting careers? Is it starting a family? Is it strengthening your marriage? Is it creating art? Is it learning an instrument? Whatever it is, writing poetry, it doesn't matter. But just sit down and think about that, and then journal on it, write on what it is, how it makes you feel, why it is most important to you. And then the second prompt, what are you particularly good at? And so really think about that, and just give yourself the opportunity to accept your own recognition. This isn't bragging, this isn't vanity, but what are you particularly good at? Write out what that is, and write out how it makes you feel to create that, or to participate in that, to do that. Are you really good at connecting people and bringing people together? Are you really good at talking to large groups of people? Are you really good at listening? Are you really good at drawing? Are you really good at, following up? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just look for what you're particularly good at and how that makes you feel. The third prompt, what are my greatest strengths? So I want you to really sit and just think about, what are your greatest strengths? Like, is it your transparency, excuse me? Is it your honesty? Is it your willingness? Is it your kindness? Is it your, or your boundaries, your greatest strength? Like, what in your own personal opinion, not anybody else's, like in your own eyes, what are your greatest strengths? And then the next question, when are you most engaged? Like, when are you dialed in? Is it in the morning? Is it after a workout? Is it while you're cooking? Is it after a long walk on the beach? Just kind of ask yourself that question, because once again, we're looking to set our highest good in action. We're looking to build ourselves up and fill our own cup up, so that then when we come into these situations with our loved ones, we're not walking in at a lower level and then trying to either pour from an empty cup, or being willing to receive things that we don't necessarily want to take on. And then another great journaling prompt, how will I leave my mark on the world? How is it through your children? Is it through your writing? Is it through just your forgiveness? Is it through your love? Is it through your understanding, your compassion, your teaching? Once again, possibilities are endless, but this is just a great journaling exercise that I would like you to do for you, to build yourself up and just take your cup, fill it all the way up. And these are things, these are your own ideas and your own thoughts and feelings about yourself. And then when you go into these situations with these loved ones, then you're able to show up in a confident and in like a loving way, to where you're already feeling good about yourself. And so you don't need other people's input to feel a certain way about yourself. And then maybe if you receive, I know that I'm framing this like you may just receive something negative, but I do just hear a lot of that during the holidays, just people's feelings get hurt. There's comments about weight, relationships, family planning, living situations. Like, the possibilities are endless. But if we go into these situations already feeling good, then we're not necessarily going to react when those things come on. And then we can just respond with something like, I don't feel comfortable discussing my personal things, but if you want to talk about it on the phone, like tomorrow, if you want to call me, that's totally fine. Like, these are things, instead of getting triggered, instead of getting activated, instead of just letting that one little thing set us off, we have a little bit of control in our experience. And then we get to enjoy, and then other people also get to enjoy because we're not contributing to any kind of negativity that may be present. So anyway, I will just go back over those journaling prompts. And so the first one, what's most important to you in your life right now? Number 2, what are you particularly good at? Number 3, what are your greatest strengths? Number 4, when are you most engaged? Number 5, how will you leave your mark on the world? And I want you to just title this, My Highest Good in Action. And also just a small life update, just because I made a really big deal about it and then never talked about it again. I am vape free, nicotine free. I don't know how long it's been. It's been like a month. I'm not like keeping track of the set date. I just don't vape anymore. And that is part of what I've talked about before, where you just have to make the shift in your mind. I am no longer a person who vapes. So I don't say I'm trying to quit or I'm quitting. I'm done. I don't vape anymore. I don't consume nicotine products. And I will say, I still have moments where I look around and I feel like there's something missing from my hand. But there isn't anything missing. That's just a prompt inside myself that I need to do, like a body scan, and just go, okay, do I need a deep breath? And that usually does the trick. So yeah, I am excited to share that news because it's a huge feat. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I haven't had sugar in a couple days. That's a hard one. I have had natural sugar, but in the process of putting down the vape, I picked up all the sugar, all the Halloween candy, anything that I could get my hands on, and I am back at my highest weight. And I love my body at every size and every number, and none of that necessarily matters, but I am feeling very called to take care of my body. I am approaching 40 next year, and I want to walk into 40 years old in my healthiest state. And I feel like I now have the knowledge to be able to do that. So I would love to take you along with me on that journey. So if you're interested, stay tuned. And yeah, if you're enjoying the podcast, then just if you're on Apple, give us a follow. If you're on Spotify, just give us a like, I believe, and then you will be informed when new episodes come out. And if you are really enjoying this and you're feeling called to do so, on Apple, just go Apple or iTunes, go to the podcast page, scroll to the bottom, and rate, and then click write a review. And if you write a review, that helps us get seen by the algorithm. That helps draw attention to the podcast. It helps tell the the upper podcast putter outers that people want to hear what we're saying here, and to bring it in front of more people. So anywho, I am really glad that you're here. I want you to know that you matter. I am so glad that you are alive. If you're struggling, please keep going. We put out new episodes every Wednesday. So I will talk to you next week.